welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel, and welcome to another Diecast Duel. Today, our dueling counterparts are the Matchbox and Hot Wheels Koenigsegg Gemeras. So in the blue square, we have Matchbox, and in the red square, we have Hot Wheels. Which of these two titans of Diecast will come out on top? Let's go ahead and get right into this battle and start figuring out who will win. Round one is our proportions and casting. So let's get started with the blue square from Matchbox. If you saw my video on this one, you'll know I think that this one is a little bit too long and perhaps a little bit too skinny this way. And the proportions could have been a little bit better. That being said, though, I don't think that they are awful by any stretch of the imagination. And if we take a look at the Hot Wheel, we'll see we have them a little bit shorter, perhaps a little bit taller, and we also have a little bit wider as well. So we now take a look at them side by side. See, the Hot Wheels is shorter. It is a little bit wider. They're actually about the same height, I'd say. But overall, proportionally speaking, the Matchbox is actually closer to a true 1/64th scale. However, the Hot Wheels, in my opinion at least, looks closer to a real-life proportions of the car itself. Looking at the noses up front, Matchbox decided to do a lot of metal on the bottom part there, whereas Hot Wheels didn't. They went plastic route. And while the Hot Wheels doesn't necessarily look bad with that plastic base nose piece, the Matchbox looks just a little bit better having that color under there, I think. If we look at our actual casting lines and our casting details, the Hot Wheels are a little bit more defined. If you notice, these vents up front, very well defined. Down the sides here are like door lines and everything, just a little bit better defined. From the roof looking down, you'll see our lines are actually pretty similar as far as that goes. We do get a few more lines over here on the Hot Wheels that the Matchbox doesn't give us. Also, a big difference that the Hot Wheels model has is the window is down on the driver's side, and it is not down on the passenger side, so it's a little bit asymmetrical, which I don't personally love that fact, but it is something that's a little bit unique. So with that, I'm going to give round one to Hot Wheels. I think it's slightly better proportioned. Its nose isn't quite as good. Its details that are casted in are ever so slightly better. And again, the proportions I think are just a little bit nicer as well. All that being said, round one was very close, but I think Hot Wheels edges it out. Round two is our details and our paint. So right off the bat, if we are to assume that these are both supposed to represent kind of the show colors for the Gemera, I think it's pretty easy to say that Hot Wheels is way more accurate there with the kind of flat, glossy gray, whereas Matchbox went with a more metal flake kind of a look, which does not look bad, but speaking strictly from an accuracy standard to the real-life Gemera, the Hot Wheels is ever so slightly better. I imagine the Matchbox was done that way more as just to kind of differentiate the two more than anything. Looking at our details nice and close up, I personally think the Hot Wheels did a slightly better job with our headlight section there. They're a little bit more crisp, a little bit more defined, whereas the Matchbox, they're kind of muted. They're almost whited out. Same with our Koenigsegg logo. I think it looks really good on the Hot Wheels version here, whereas it looks a little bit more muted and faded on the Matchbox. Moving to our tail sections here. Our tail lights, again, look a little bit more well-defined and crisp on the Hot Wheels model. Moving over to the Matchbox, they're, again, just a little bit faded. There is actually, like, even some white lines going on up here. I'm not sure really what that's about. But moving on to the straight-up booty sections, the Matchbox has some decals, tampos, that the Hot Wheels doesn't. So we do get this black kind of thing here with the Koenigsegg logo there. And then up here by the engine cover, this stretches out over kind of the exhaust vent things that are there. Whereas the Hot Wheels, the window piece kind of comes down and our exhaust vents are there and they're not tampered over. But both models do include the ghost, so that's pretty good. Overall, the detail-wise, I think I'm still going to say the Hot Wheels is slightly better. We do also get the Gemera logo there, where we don't get that on the Matchbox. So that's another little thing to note. Looking at our wheels. So, if we're just trying to be strictly to the wheels that the real-life car has, the Hot Wheels is significantly closer to the real-life wheels than the Gemera is. The Matchbox has got this like 5-spoke going on, whereas Hot Wheels has the 10-spoke. So with all of that out of the way, I'm going to give round 2 to the Hot Wheels as well. Again, it's very close this round, but I feel like the Hot Wheels, with its better defined headlights, taillights, and the more accurate wheel, as well as the Gemera written accurately on the side of the car, that kind of overrides the lack of the Gemera on the back of the car and the kind of extension of the engine cover to exhaust section, personally for me. Round 3, value for your money. So, these both being the Mattel brands, these are both going to run you about $1.20 today. Now, it should be noted that the Hot Wheels did come out about a year ago from filming of this, back when Hot Wheels were still 94 cents instead of the $1.19 that they are today. However, I'm not going to really factor that in, because if you were to find this one on a peg today, it would still be $1.19, just like the Matchbox is. With that being said, round 3 is pretty much equal. As we said, these two cars are very, very similar. The two castings are very similar. Some things the Matchbox does a little stronger. Some things the Hot Wheels does a little stronger. So with that, round 3 is going to be a draw due to the fact that they cost the exact same. Round 4 is our roll test, and Matchbox rolls extremely well. Hot Wheels also rolls extremely well. There is, again, probably not all that surprisingly, no massive differences in the way they roll, especially not a big enough difference that I can really say one way or the other that one is significantly better and therefore wins the round hands down, meaning that round 4 is also going to end in a draw. And with all 4 rounds finished, it's time to declare a winner. Taking 2 of the 4 rounds, the winner is going to be the Hot Wheels. Now, it doesn't win by much, and it is, again, very close. But for me personally, the Hot Wheels just looks a little bit better for me. I actually hate the window being down on this side. The asymmetrical, really actually kind of despise that. I don't like it one bit. But it's not enough for it to overcome the kind of awkward looking proportions for me on the Matchbox. I just feel the Matchbox looks a little bit too long, and it just throws off the entire look of the car by a lot for me. That being said, though, both of these models have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, and while I personally think the Hot Wheels is better, it's not better by a lot. It is not like an absolutely obvious, no questions asked kind of a win for the Hot Wheels. So if you prefer the Matchbox, by all means, I think you should pick up the Matchbox. If you prefer the Hot Wheels, continue to grab the Hot Wheels model. And I hope that this has kind of shined a little bit of light on the big differences between the two. And that's all I have for this Diecast Duel, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit like. Leave a comment down below telling me what your thoughts are on these two models. Which one did it better in your opinion? And make sure you subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next video.